Yes, I'm Louis Lortie. I was born in Canada and I'm a concert pianist, and I'm very excited to come back for a recital in Kumho, Korea. It's very exciting for me because I've been more often to other parts of Asia, like Singapore or Taiwan, China, and not enough to Korea. Especially in the last decade, there has been an explosion of musical talent in Korea. So it's amazing for me to be here because I follow a lot what's happening through YouTube and also from this hall. I saw a lot of like when I saw the hall, I recognized immediately because I've heard a lot of incredible young musicians perform on this stage. So it's very exciting. Yes, I usually don't like to do a program with a little bit of pieces that are not connected together. Usually, I very often also play music by only one composer or composers from the same period or composers that are related. In this case, it's more a program that I devised it because actually my good friend Elizabeta Penderecka in Warsaw asked me to do a program for her festival, which was that year dedicated to Immanuel Kant, the philosopher. So it was not easy to find something that can be related to philosophy. In that case, I thought the process of variation was a good idea, and also because there was a certain proximity between Kant and Mendelssohn and Beethoven, so that's how I started shaping the program, which is variations, but mostly from those two composers. First, I always, all my life, thought I have to play the C minor variations by Beethoven because I just loved this piece really to death, and I had never played it in concert. So I thought this will be the program opener. And then, so in the first part, I have very classical variations, but they go through romanticism. So after we have the Mendelssohn Variations Sérieuses, it's one of his better pieces and still not played so often. So I think it's very nice. It's a piece that I have loved for all my life. And then I add another composer that I played a lot when it was his anniversaries, Gabriel Fauré. And the theme and variations, probably one of his most famous pieces, one of his most incredibly constructed piece also. And we know that Fauré loved Mendelssohn, so there is a kind of connection between, and of course Bach is always very important in all three composers. The shadow of Bach is important. And then in the second part, I wanted to play a contemporary piece by Thomas Hadès, the British composer. These are called the Blanca variations. They are actually, strangely, part of an opera, because at one point in the Exterminating Angel by Hadès, there is a scene in the opera in which a pianist is playing those Blanca variations. So it's sort of taken out of the opera. So it's very nice to start the second part with that piece. Also looking back, not to Bach, but maybe more to the age of maybe the French classical writing for the harpsichord. It's very much a cross, I would say, of writing for the piano and the harpsichord, especially in the last pages, with a lot of typical ornamentation that would really suit the harpsichord. And then we go back to finish the program with the Eroica variations, a piece that I played a lot in my life. It was one of the first Beethoven pieces that I learned, and it's Beethoven with variations. You never go wrong because the process that he uses, especially in these variations, he starts only with the accompaniment, a kind of bass line, punctuated bass line, and only after 3 or 4 other statements of this bass line, he finally introduces the theme, and then it ends up with a fugue. So it's a very, very dense and very rich cycle of variations. Well, first it's a journey through history, because we have music from the early 19th century, and then we go to music that was composed just a few years ago. So that's one experience. Also, as I said, it's also an experience of how, not only how the composer processes the idea of variations, but what happens within a variation. Because most of them, as I said earlier, have repeats. And I have my own idea about how this is done. So anybody who knows the music a little bit and is curious will find that I have my own solutions to these problems. Well, everything in music is based on variations, actually. I mean, when there is a restatement of a theme, or that's also how we can almost judge or experiment the greatness of a composer. It's the ability to use the material and always vary. And also, as an interpreter, we have so many repeats. Very often we have a repeat. Even in a sonata, we have the exposition, and it's being repeated. And this repetition has always also to be a variation, has to be varied. What happens with variations, even in the case of a repeat. So variation is important process in life. You know, every morning we get up and let's say we have breakfast, but we vary. We don't want to have exactly the same breakfast because life would be very, very boring. So maybe one item of the breakfast will be changed because the season, maybe there is some fresh fruit that's added because it finally arrived in the market or something. So it's a little bit this kind of added freshness to the same material, basic material, is also I would say, the process of the variation in music. I'm very excited to be here on the 23rd of October 2025 for a recital in your beautiful concert hall. Thank you very much.